Hello and welcome to this taste challenge. I have two Kentucky straight rye whiskeys, not bourbon. This is Old Overholt, Kentucky straight rye whiskey, introduced in 1810, but it was Pennsylvania straight rye whiskey back then. It says born in Pennsylvania on the bottle. If this thing will focus, I'd be happy. Yeah, it was an independent company, but it got bought by the Beam Company. I think it was 1993 they got bought, and they shut down the distillery there in Pennsylvania, and all the production was moved to Kentucky. So if you go to Pennsylvania, you ain't gonna see nothing but a relic, unless they've already demolished. They may have demolished the building by now. I did see somebody did a YouTube video where they were snooping around in there, which I thought it was dangerous, but it's interesting. I wouldn't. I was just watching it. Well, if this thing would focus, I'd be so happy. Now, the competitor is Knob Creek, introduced in 2012. Also, yeah, there it goes. Also by the Beam Company. Beam introduced Knob Creek in 1992, bourbon, and then the rye in 10 years later. 20 years later, sorry. As kind of an upscale bourbon, as opposed to Jim Beam, which usually is considered sort of budget, lower caste. All right. Knob Creek is very popular these days, and Old Overholt is popular these days. Now, the Old Overholt, I paid like about $20 for it. About $20 for it at a local store. Don't remember which store. It doesn't much matter. Most everybody sells it. Not everybody, but most everybody. Knob Creek, yeah, you can find it. You can find it. Now, I paid, this is a half-size bottle, and I paid $6.99 for this at a local store. They had it on a super closeout. Couldn't figure it out, but I bought two bottles, so $13.98 for a full-size amount. Oh yeah, I'm going for that. I couldn't understand it. It's like, why? I know Knob Creek's not no $13.98 whiskey, but then I realized later it had been discontinued and replaced with a newer Knob Creek rye. They still make it. It's just a 7-year age now. They have an age statement. It used to be no age statement. So, hey, I benefited from it. Burley Sullivan says, you. Hey, Burley, cheers back to you. Feel like we do. So when they replaced it last year, that's the red cap. I guess they decided, just close it out. Sell the stuff at below cost. Who cares, And I benefited. Okay, so appearance-wise, there's a big difference. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can detect that on this video because there's glare and everything, but I can see the light from the screen shining through it. And the Knob Creek is clearly darker. Now, I've heard rumors they say you have a broken heart. No, but I've heard rumors that Knob Creek and Old Overholt are kind of like the same thing. About 51% rye, certain amount of what other grains, corn, barley, wheat, if whatever, and that they just simply age them differently and make it higher or lower proof. That would make sense. Same distillery, Kentucky. So I know the Old Overholt is aged 4 years these days. I have two other expressions from earlier in this century, but aged 4 years. It's non-chill filtered and it's 86 proof. This one is aged no particular amount of time, but it's at least 4 years. I'm talking about this bottle, which was replaced last year. I'm telling you, it was replaced last year. You could probably still find it, more than likely. Aged at least 4 years, and it's 80 proof. I mean, 100 proof. What did I just say? 100 proof. That was a faux pas, a fox pass. Yeah, that was a screw up. 100 proof. And it wouldn't be that difficult to take the same product and make it two different ways. Bring this down to 86 proof with adding tap water. Bring that down to 100 proof by adding tap water. Age this 4 years exactly. Age this one 4 years, give or take. And you have the same thing, but it's going to taste different due to those factors that I just mentioned. Was Old Overholt a lot different when it was Pennsylvania made? I could not tell you that because I never had it. I certainly wasn't drinking any kind of liquor in 1993 or 2003 or even 2013. I didn't start dabbling in it until around 2016. So I would have no clue. Could you find an old bottle? Well, you could probably find one. May not like the price. I was able to benefit from somebody just giving me some bottles. A 1954 bottle of cognac, wonderful. A 1977 bottle of 8-year age, 100 proof, Old Crow bottle and bond, no longer produced, wonderful. An 8-year aged 101, Wild Turkey 101 from 1983. So 3 wonderful products. I didn't pay a penny for any of those. That was 3 great gifts in full-size bottles too. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Old Crow 1977 bottling, aged from 1969 to 77, 100 proof. I think that Old Crow bottle and bond was a liter bottle. And people were telling me on the internet, don't open it, don't open it. You can sell it for hundreds of dollars. I said, I don't care. I'm drinking it. Mr. Bobby gave that to me to try. He was like, oh, you can have this. He said, this was a cheap whiskey I had. But when people would come over to my New Year's Eve party, they would always want to drink my good stuff to the bottom. So I will put this out for them. I got a laugh out of that. Dr. Frosty Brew says, cheers, clinking the mugs, Jay. Cheers to you, Dr. Frosty Brew. He just didn't realize he had left it in his cabinet for over 40 years. And then I told him I would buy it from you. I said, I'll buy it from you. I don't know. I got to think about it. But then the next time I saw him at work, he brought me those 2 bottles for free. I said, oh, I'll pay you. No. He said, you could have them. They weren't doing anything but sitting in a cabinet, which is true. All right. So do I think I'll be able to tell these apart? I think so. Let's look at the websites for what that's worth, which is not too much with the Knob Creek. But the current Old Overholt, the one I have, best paired with a tenacious spirit. So it's a legendary product. Rye connoisseur's choice, whether in front or behind the bar. Now, I'm not really sure if old rye connoisseur's choice, something more high grade than a $19.99 bottle marketing. Straight rye, that means straight rye, that means it can't add any coloring or flavoring. So there's no coloring or flavoring added. After with determination and conviction through wisdom prohibition. Oh man. The robust flavor of Old Overholt boasts rich spices and deep, dark fruits. Maintaining its historical 86 proof, Old Overholt remains true to its roots. Distilled in the spirit of Abe's vision, Abraham Overholt. Tenacious and industrious. All right. Now that's some dark honey color, aroma, light spices and pepper, light fruitiness and hints of vanilla. A full body with balance of spice and deep roots. The finish is full bodied, balanced, and very flavorful. Born from tenacity. And then there's recipes here. Bartender tested. Now, my friend David would make a comment like, yeah, well, it's a bar whiskey. What do you expect? That would be his comment. It's a bar whiskey. There's your bottle and bond, which he has a bottle. I bought him a bottle. Cask strength, 10-year age. No, too strong for my desires. And I know there's 114 proof. They don't list it here, but I've seen it. There's also the A Overholt, which is the really expensive one. I probably could find that. I wouldn't want to pay for it, but yeah, there is a 114 proof version also. Okay, now small collection, Knob Creek. Now the closest one we can find to what I've got is the 7-year. Did they change this much? They just went to 7 years and gave an exact age statement. The one I have is at least 4 years, so it's somewhere at least 4 and most likely less than 7. Patiently aged for 7 years in deeply charred barrels and bottled at 100 proof. So they're saying a deep char, like probably a number 4 char. High corn mash bill now. Okay, high corn. Interesting. I had a feeling about that. Feeling down inside. Oh, yeah. Senior ambassador. Well, I bet you there's some videos floating around from before last year that talk about the one I've got. And I'm sure they're talking about how awesome it is. There's also a 9-year, a 10-year, and most likely more than that. But that's what they're showing here. Okay, so got to start somewhere, right? I'm looking the other way because I don't want to glance down and see that darker appearance. If I see the darker appearance, I'm going to know it's the Knob Creek, and I don't want to. I want to do this on correctness, not just a cheat. Definitely not a cheat. Yeah, it smells like rye bread, mint, pepper, bread, dough, bread crust, I mean, to say. Yeah, all of those things, but lighter. Even feels lighter. It's like it doesn't weigh as much. It's less alcohol. Not kidding about that. So on aroma, this one seems to be the Knob Creek. This one seems to be the Beam. I'm sorry, the old Overholt from James Beam Distilling. Okay, taste time. The deep char, yes. A lot of wood. If you don't like oak, don't buy it. Just don't buy it because it's oaky. There's a lot of wood in this. So there's charred oak. There's the peppery spice and the mintiness. So yeah, if you're not too tuned into oak, yeah, steer clear. Steer clear. Let's go over here. Okay. Is there a good amount of oak here? Yes. Deep char? Yeah, pretty heavy, I'd say. Does seem lighter though. 86 proof versus 100. Does seem lighter. Not particularly light, but relatively light. On the other hand, is the flavor that different one to the other? I would say not really that different one to the other. I mean, there could be differences, and maybe you could taste these and detail those differences and run it, and discuss it. But I don't really see now. They're kind of like the same, So Could you come out ahead buying the old Overholt 100 proof? I don't know, because I think the old Overholt 100 proof bottled and bond is about the same price as the standard Knob Creek. So I guess you'd be even. You'd be buying something probably heading into $30, between 25 and $30. They kind of the same product. I'm talking about the 100 proof old Overhaul, which I did try once at my friend David's house. He let me try my gift to him. But no, I'm not seeing a whole lot of difference. It's kind of like same song, different dance, or same song, different bottle. But is it a good song? You say, yeah, but is it a good song? Is it a quality? Is it quality music? Yes, they are both quality products. So you take your pick. I don't know what to say, but I would buy both without, any kind of problem. I can see what Total Wine's going. I mean, I know at Walmart, but I don't know if Walmart sells Knob Creek Rye. I don't know. They kind of limited. I mean, they have a good amount of stuff, but they don't obviously have as much as Total Wine, because they're not a beer, wine, and liquor store. They're a huge department store. Okay, that does carry liquor. Old, old over. So Total Wines, 20.99. They go up $1, but you can get a liter for the same price. So why would you pay for the 750? You'd be out of your mind. That's all they carry. They only carry the standard. They don't carry any of the other. They don't carry any of the other fancy pants versions. Maybe it doesn't move over there, and they just say, "Nah, carry it, but we're not bringing in all that other stuff." Okay, fair enough. Okay, Knob Creek Rye. Uh, yeah, you see, that's $8 more. But the problem I have is that I can't. I don't know what the bottle and bond is. I think it Dorgnex is 25.99, 24. So yeah, you could save a little money. Yeah. Now these rye whiskeys from Knob Creek go from, I'm talking about standard bottles, 28.99 on the low end, 67.99 on the high end. So almost a $40 difference, nearly a $40 difference. So that's something to think about. Which one do I prefer here? Next sip. Good stuff. Good stuff. All the way. Complaints? None. Negatives? There aren't any, really. I think if you were with somebody and they started tasting this and it was firing out a bunch of negative comments, I would start to I would be suspect. I'd be thinking, wait a minute. What is all of this? What are you talking about? Although I doubt many people would do that. Get some eccentric people that might, but most people would be praising it, I believe. Um, in my opinion, because obviously it only applies to me as far as personal preference. Personal preference, I would prefer the old Overholt. It's milder, lower alcohol, a little bit more lined up for what I would want to drink. Okay. Maybe the whiskey enthusiasts might prefer the Knob Creek because they might want a stronger, more hard edged. It's not really a hard edged product, but you know what I'm saying, more hard edged. Joe Cobb says, afternoon Ron bought some Gewürz Minor white wine. Never heard of that. And some Pinot Noir red wine today, both made in Canada. Oh, that sounds like a good idea. I like wine. I have some sherry, some extra dry sherry right now, which is also extra strong at 17%. Can't drink too much of that stuff. Or is it 18? There's some outrageous ABV on it. But I think I'm gonna go the next time I buy wine. I'm gonna either go to this place along the river, close to New Orleans, which has good deals, or I might just go to Winn-Dixie because they have some good deals also on this. Like a private label brand, but for Southeastern grocers. But it looks like it's good stuff. So yeah. I'm gonna call this the come on, focus, man, focus, you camera. I'm gonna say this is the Knob Creek. So tell me if I hold up my hand, it'll focus. Knob Creek. Is that a real creek? I assume it is. We have a problem, folks. A serious problem. Okay, Canada has some great wineries, not as well known as Australia, etc. Well, or France, But hey, I believe it. Louisiana does, but they're really obscure. Um, yeah, yeah. I hate to tell you all this, but this is labeled Old Overholt. This one's labeled Knob Creek. Now, I cannot even believe that such a thing could occur. No way that's Knob Creek. I don't know what I got distracted or something. I poured the wrong thing. There's no way this is Knob Creek. I can't believe it. Because I'm tasting a light, relatively light whiskey here. There's no way this is going to be 100 proof. Well, I'm going to have to pour some more, which is a tragedy in itself because I'm wasting the whiskey. I didn't buy it to waste. Now you could say, "Oh, you're just trying to drink and get drunk." If I was trying to do that, I would just tell you on air, "This is what I'm trying to do." But that's not what I'm trying to do. Okay. And how much effort would it take anyway? You might feel bad the next day, though. And I don't like to feel bad. I don't like to be sick. Okay, here we go. All right. Oh, yeah. That's a much stronger flavor than what I just tasted. Now, let me pour this over here. Oh, man, I hate to waste this stuff. I'm trying to really nurse it because I want it to last forever and ever and ever. Um, Now, if it was Grand Legacy Canadian whiskey, I wouldn't mind wasting it because I don't want it to last forever because it's not that good. It tastes like candy or something, which is not a bad flavor on its own, but it's that stuff is that stuff is boo boo. Okay, yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, whatever I did to get them transposed, I did it. But now I got it. I got it right. I had it right, but I had the wrong labels. I mean, you say you're cheating. Believe me, I'm not that worried about these challenges to cheat. Okay, they're entertaining and maybe even just mildly entertaining, but that will be the day when I cheat to win these challenges. Believe me, you believe you me, and I'm unanimous in that. No, but as a comic, in all seriousness, I know what I did wrong. Okay, so I gotta I keep getting confused. You know why I keep getting confused? I'm gonna tell you why I keep getting confused and get because Old Overholt is an old brand, from 1810, right? So I have the things labeled this letters letter C, the competitor, and then I have letter M, the main product. But see, my mind gets confused because I'm thinking Old Overhaul is old, so it's the main product. It is, and it's old, and it's a legendary thing. And then I'm thinking this one's from '92, so it's a new kid on the block, an NKOTV. Oh, but you know what I'm saying? So it just throws me off. But this is the product. This is the control group. I'm doing Knob Creek versus everybody else, not Old Overholt. I have to get that fixation out of my head. So yeah. So I'm sorry about that screw up, but no, I did not confuse them. I mean, honestly, they're they're so clearly not alike. They're alike in the sense that they're the same, more or less, mash bill and so forth. But as far as final presentation, no, they're not. They are not alike. This one is light bodied, which is what was over there. If you want to call it watery, yeah, I guess you could say like a light beer is watery, no, I mean, but this one is most assuredly not light. So like if these were beers, let's say, all right, they're beers. This would be like Bud Light, and this one would be like Natty Daddy, Natural Father, the Natty Daddy, the 8% blockbuster beer from Natural Light, same company, and it's Bush, but their portfolio, the Natural Light line. This would be the heavy hitter because you're never going to confuse that. Like it would be impossible to confuse Natural Light with Natty Daddy. You just not, even though they use the same, they're very similar to these because they use the same uh, grain bill, mash bill, if you want to say that word, but they're not distilling. So, that's interesting. They take Natural Light, which has been on the market 48 years. They use a combination of barley malt, corn, and rice. I don't know why they want to use barley malt, corn, and rice, and they use wheat. Yeast, and hops, of course. And they blend it. If you want to call it a blended beer, okay, it is all right. Just like these are blended rye, honestly, because they use multigrain, and that's at 4.2, so it's very mild. Like you drink Natural Light, it's very mild. I mean, anybody could drink that. That's just a guzzler for the last 48 years. Well made, no knock. But then they came out with this imperial version about 14 years ago. I don't know if they did it as a prank or as a joke or if they were serious about it, or I don't know if they had an oblique sense of humor or something, but they put it out there, Natty Daddy. Even the name is like, obviously they're being kind of comical about it. But when I saw that product, I was like, what the deal is this? So I bought it 8%. It's not double the amount because it would be 8.4, right? But it's plenty strong. And if you try that, you just say, ooh, it's so heavy and intense. So you would never in your wildest dreams, you would never confuse it with its originator, the light version. So, but it's really literally the same product. It's the same product, really strong and light. And these are kind of like the same product. Strong. I'm not saying really strong, you notice, but strong. If you don't think 100 proof is strong, yeah, it's strong, and not so strong, 86 proof. And yeah, they don't really cross over in flavor, and they don't cross over in finish. The final, You know what I think is different, honestly? Another thing I believe is different besides the proof. I think that this is probably using a number 4 char, and I think they're probably aging this one in a number 3 char barrel, maybe a number 2, but probably a number 3. Like there's levels of char. It's like a little bit of char, number 1. Number 2, kind of moderate. Number 3, moderate but getting toward heavy. And then number 4, burnt up. So the number 4 charred barrel is they just let it burn and burn and burn when you get this thick layer of charcoal. And that's going to really affect the product, you see. So yeah, I think that's what's happening there. Uh, Adam Ashworth says, hi, how are you, Jay? I'm fine. Thank you. So I got a Bourbon County brand stout shirt. It's interesting because I was talking about beer and whiskey, and here's a beer that's treated with whiskey. In other words, it's aged in whiskey barrels. So if you are a person that likes whiskey, but maybe you're not too keen on beer, you think beer is kind of, you say, I had Old Milwaukee. My daddy used to drink that. I have had a Bud Light. My uncle drank that. It's all right. I'm not really into it too much. And I get that. But if you don't know about Bourbon County brand stout, this is a dark beer aged for about a year in bourbon barrels, ex-bourbon barrels. So if your experience with beer is Old Milwaukee and Bud Light, and you try this, and you're a whiskey fan, I think that might make you a beer fan. It might turn you into a beer fan in that area, because you're going to be, and it usually comes out on or around Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, USA. It's pricey, let's be honest, but believe me, it's going to be beyond what you ever dreamed a beer would be. Because when I talk to most people and I say beer, the first thing that comes to mind is Bud Light, maybe Budweiser, regular red label Budweiser, but that probably would have been more common 30 years ago, 40 years ago. But Coors Light, they think of Miller Lite, Michelob Ultra, of course. Corona, they'll say Corona, something like that. Corona Extra. But they're not thinking Bourbon County brand stout from Goose Island. So if they tried this, it could change everything. It really could change the whole paradigm. It's like if you're into beer and you don't deal with whiskey, you say, well, I tried whiskey, but I only had, and you name la-di-da brand. And I would say, well, that's okay. That brand of whiskey is okay. I know your uncle drank it, or your grandpa drank it, your grandpapa, or whatever. People use different terms. In Louisiana, say pawpaw. Pawpaw, your father's father, pawpaw. But if you got deeper into it, you might say, oh, I didn't realize that these would have all these flavors. It's a little, or it's quite different than what I expected. So yeah, I think it's good to experiment. I'm not saying it's a requirement. It's necessary. Some people do believe that, but I think if you're if you're kind of interested in it, you say, well, I don't know. Maybe I'll try it. Now I can see if you're buying a bottle of whiskey and you'd be stuck with it. Yeah. If you buy a 6-pack of beer, you say I paid $6.79 for that. Well, big deal. You just over $1 a can, give that away. But I think I do believe it's worth checking out. Same thing with wine. I think it's worth it. And I think the even with inflation and everything, but I think the risk factor is low, relatively low, assuming you have a handle on your debt and your revenue income versus out of your expenses. But anyway, the winner, personally, I think the winner is Old Overholt because I find it pleasant. It's mild for me. I'm like a light beer person of whiskey, but with beer, I rather the Imperials. Kind of funny, huh? But the Knob Creek, it's very well made, and I can't think of anything negative to say about it. Like, if you gave me 15 minutes to think of something negative to say about Knob Creek, I'll tell you to save the time because I couldn't think of anything. No, it's very well made. I think Beam Distilling knows what they're doing. They have been distilling whiskey since 1795, so they might have a handle on it. But yeah, but they got haters out there, man. Oh man, they got haters. You watch these videos, they got people. They got an axe to grind with Jim Beam. They would literally try to make you think that it's the worst tasting thing on the planet. Like literally, you cannot drink it. Like only a fool would drink it. But you would have to have a child's mentality to believe that. You would have to have a child's mentality to believe that. All right, well, y'all take care, and see y'all tomorrow morning. Because I think tomorrow morning at dawn, Dawn Busters is coming to an end soon because of the time frame. But I think we're going to bring in Jim Beam pre-prohibition rye, which was abruptly canceled last year, which shocked me. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned when I saw that. But I did buy the replacement, which might be years, 5 years before I get to it. No joke. All right, we all take care. Bye-bye. Cheers to you, Old Overholt. A legendary classic. This is a modern classic. This is the old classic rye whiskey from centuries ago.